Introduction and Navigation. Welcome. The Kronos Music Workstation is a powerful and innovative musical instrument designed for live performing musicians, for artists creating in a studio or computer-based production environment, and for musicians and sound designers seeking the ultimate synthesizer. In this hour-long video, we'll cover the main functions of your Kronos. There's a lot to cover, so each exercise will be brief, but it should be enough to get you started. For more detailed information, the PDF manuals on the accessory disc 2 that came with your Kronos can help you dig deeper. We recommend that you follow the video all the way through the first time, pausing when necessary. Then later, go back to specific chapters. Okay, before we get started, reach around to the right rear of the Kronos and turn it off. Wait though, don't turn it on yet. Korg recommends that you should wait approximately 10 seconds after the Kronos has been shut down before turning it back on again. Okay, that should be long enough. Reach back and turn it on. Now we'll both be in the same place from the beginning. While it's starting up, let's take a look at the Kronos top panel from left to right. These are the performance controllers, typically used to control the nuances of the sounds in real time: the ribbon, joystick, switches 1 and 2, and the vector joystick. The Karma and drum track switches. The knobs, switches, and sliders of this control surface are used for a variety of functions, from mixing to adjusting and editing the sounds. The value slider and up-down buttons to the left of the screen and the dial to the right are used to change and adjust values, parameters, etc. This 8-inch touch view screen is the heart of the Kronos interface. The mode buttons, the exit button, the compare button, which works like an undo, the help button that accesses the onboard English manual. These buttons directly access the banks of programs or combinations, the numeric keypad, the sequencer transport controls, tap tempo and tempo knob, and finally the sampling switches. The back panel has the usual array of pedal and MIDI connections, as well as outputs, of course. However, you will also find USB A and B connections, SPDIF digital in and out, and 2 analog inputs for sampling and audio recording. By the way, Kronos can send MIDI signals to and from your computer via USB. Using the Kronos Editor software, a free download, sounds and settings can be edited directly from your computer. The plugin editor, also a free download, lets you use Kronos from within many popular DAW systems, as if it were a plug-in instrument. Kronos can also be used as an audio I/O for your computer, sending and receiving 2 channels of audio via USB. That means that when using your Kronos and a computer in a music production system, there's no need to purchase any additional hardware. You have everything you need right here. Details on this are in the documentation that comes with the free software. When using the Kronos, you're always working within one of 7 modes: setlist, combination, program, sequencer, sampling, global, or disc. We'll be looking at these modes in detail, but for now, press global to go to global mode. Let's look at getting around on the touch view screen. It's a good idea to calibrate the screen the first time you use your Kronos, or if the screen isn't responding correctly. In the upper right corner, there's always a pull-down menu with important things like write commands, etc. From this page of the global mode, you can select Touch Panel Calibration. Just follow the on-screen commands. Touch the 2 rectangles in the center using your fingernail or a stylus, then touch Done. The touch view screen is extremely easy to use. You simply touch a value or parameter and then use a variety of ways to change it. For example, touch the key transpose parameter. You can now use the slider, the up-down buttons, the dial, or the numeric keypad to change the value. Make sure it's back at 0. Use the numeric keypad and press 0, then Enter. You'll also occasionally find radio buttons used to select from a small set of options, as well as checkboxes. When you see an arrow beside a parameter, it means it will open a menu of things to select from. You can make a selection, but for now just touch outside the menu to make the menu disappear. The exit button makes it disappear as well. Along the bottom, these tabs access more pages of information. And within those pages, there are usually more tabs. Press the exit button to get back to the top page. We'll be using this powerful control surface to do many different things throughout this video. These 5 control assign buttons change the function: timbre and MIDI track mixer, audio input and track mixer, external control, real-time knobs karma, and tone adjust. Program mode. Let's go to program mode. There are almost 2,000 sound programs, and they can be selected in a few different ways. The up-down buttons, the dial, or the numeric keypad, for example. The programs are grouped in banks of 128 that can be selected using these dedicated bank buttons. Internal banks on the top row and user banks in the lower row. You can also use the screen to select banks and programs. Touch the arrow to the left of the program name. The tabs on the left select the banks. Then simply touch the program you want. Notice the scroll bar on the bottom allowing access to more programs. Touching OK would bring you to the main screen of the selected program. For now, touch Cancel, or press the exit button, which returns you to our previous program, internal A000 Kronos German Grand. One of the reasons the Kronos is so powerful is that it has 9 sound engines. Sound engines are the technologies used to create a sound. Typically, a keyboard like this simply uses one sound engine, usually sample playback technology, to create sounds. The Kronos is much more powerful. Let's take a quick look at the 9 sound engines to understand how they work. Of course, the beauty of the Kronos is you can simply select a sound and play it. Everything is done behind the scenes for you. But understanding each sound engine may help you when deciding what sound to use for a particular application. Since we are on program internal A000 Kronos German Grand, let's start there. This uses the SGX1 sound engine, which is designed solely to create piano sounds, from the strike of the string to the sound the damper pedal makes. The SGX1 accesses a huge piano sample library that resides on the internal solid-state drive. There are 2 SGX1 pianos, a German grand and a Japanese grand. Every note was sampled at 8 velocities with no looping. That's why the pianos sound so good. You'll find several programs with different variations of these 2 pianos because certain characteristics of the pianos can be changed, of course. For example, whether the piano lid is open or closed or somewhere in between. Touch the picture of the piano. And then touch lid position. Use the slider to lower and raise the lid. Notice how the piano becomes brighter as you open the lid, just like on a real grand piano. Press Exit to return to the main page. Select Program Internal A13. We're already in the internal A bank, so use the dial to advance to 13. G Duke Old and Funky Mark I EP, which uses the next sound engine, EP1. EP1 is designed to create electric piano sounds. It uses MDS, multi-dimensional synthesis. After the electric piano is sampled, MDS is able to separate the mechanical noises from the true tonal harmonics, giving separate control over the two. The tonal harmonics are analyzed and put back together in 2 dimensions, velocity and decay. This makes the velocity and decay of the EP1's tine and reed electric pianos seamless, with no sample looping. Let's use the control surface to make some adjustments to the sound. In this program, knob 7 brings up the intensity of the vintage orange phaser effect you see on your screen. But EP1 gives you much more control than that. Contrary to typical sample playback, you have the ability to accentuate and shape the different elements of the sound. Listen how the vector joystick adjusts the hammer width and attack noise. Press the Tone Adjust button, which allows the control surface to directly access and edit different parameters of the sound. In this case, Slider 4 modifies the decay of the notes, making it shorter or longer, but still keeping a natural feel. Still in the internal A bank, use the numeric keypad to select 54. Just press 5, then 4, then Enter. This program uses the CX3 tone wheel organ sound engine, designed to recreate the amazing color and subtleties of a drawbar organ. Notice that the program has been saved with the control surface set to Tone Adjust. It's designed so these 9 sliders access the 9 drawbars of the organ. The rotary speaker effect is used on this program and is right inside of the CX3 sound engine. Flicking the joystick forward changes the speed. No need to hold it. It acts like a switch. Select program E27. Press the user E bank and enter 27 on the keypad. In 1978, Korg released our legendary MS-20 analog synthesizer. The MS-20 EX sound engine is designed to recreate that legendary sound. Based on an intimate knowledge of the original analog circuits, the Korg engineers were able to make sure that every nuance is replicated. But they didn't stop there. They added, expanded, and improved. The result is a powerful synth engine that not only sounds different than the other analog engines in the Kronos, but is unique compared to any other analog synth. The original had a fun-to-use patch bay, and the MS-20EX is no different. Select user E004, SNH 5th comp. Touch the patch panel. Now touch the VCO1 out twice, and a box flashes. Now touch the LPF in, and a cable is created patching the voltage-controlled oscillator 1 directly to the low-pass filter. There are lots of MS-20EX sounds done for you, but this interface makes it fun to get in there and experiment. Let's use the screen to select user E62. Press Exit to go to the main page. Touch the arrow to the left of the name. We're already in the user E bank, so scroll to the right. Touch Program Funky Power Bass and touch OK. The popular Korg Poly 6 was released in 1981. This is one of the programs using the Poly 6 EX synth engine that recreates and stays true to that distinct warm analog synthesizer. But we added more EGs, LFOs, modulation of all the original parameters, and more. These old synths were fun to program because you could just reach out and tweak a knob. The Kronos has the same appeal. Touch here to bring up the main Poly 6 display. You can touch a knob and adjust it, but press the Tone Adjust button. Most of the knobs and switches of the Poly 6 EX display are already assigned to the control surface. Go ahead, tweak. Don't worry, you won't lose or erase anything. Press Exit to return to the main screen. Let's use a different way to select a program. Touch the category name at the top of the screen. Each program is organized into one of 16 categories. There are 2 user categories as well. It makes it easy to find a sound in the instrument family you need, for example, piano, organ, guitar, synth pad, etc. The categories can be selected with the tabs on the left. There are subcategories as well. Then, as we did before, just touch the sound you want. Go to the Fast Synth category and select Internal A102 Raising Hammer Synth, and then OK. It's fun to be able to recreate and access synths from the past, but this next sound engine, the AL1, was designed from the ground up to create what an analog synthesizer can be today. Remember, these analog synths are using modeling, not sampling, giving you much more flexibility. The performance controllers really show how flexible the AL1 is. You'll notice that the control surface is saved on RT knobs Karma. We'll get to Karma later. RT stands for real time, referring to the control these 8 knobs have over the sound. The first 4 always control these 4 parameters: filter cutoff, resonance, EG intensity, and release. But these last 4 are freely assignable. You'll find that knob 8 and 7 usually control the ambience and modulation effects. Knobs 6 and 5 could be anything. So as usual, it's best to just experiment. Don't worry, even if you save over a program, all the original factory data is backed up on the internal disk. You'll never lose anything. Select program user D000 with the numeric keypad. User bank D. Pressing 0 then enter is enough. This next sound engine uses a completely different technology, physical modeling. The STR1 pluck string synth really is incredible. It can be used to create sounds that are plucked or struck, for example, guitars, basses, bells, electric pianos, and more. Instead of just sampling a guitar note, you can literally design what the string is made of, whether it's plucked, struck, or scraped, even where the string is plucked. Press the Tone Adjust button. In this program, slider 1 is set up to control where the string is plucked. As you move the slider, you can go from plucking over the sound hole to near the bridge of the guitar and anywhere in between, all in real time. Select Program Internal A55, Internal Bank A, 55 Mod 7 E-Piano Pad SW1. One of the more popular synth technologies of the 1980s was frequency modulation. Sounds were created by modulating one waveform with another. The Mod 7 wave-shaping VPM synth, the next engine we'll look at, takes this technology to a whole new level. By the way, SW1 in the name refers to switch 1. Sometimes the name has controller information that's important to the sound. For example, AT for aftertouch, JS-Y moving the joystick in the back direction. In this case, SW1 indicates that switch 1 turns on and off the pad sound. As you can hear, this is one of those familiar FM electric piano sounds. But now select user F65. This sound engine can very quickly go from the traditional to groundbreaking. It combines classic FM with wave shaping and sample processing, including using samples as FM modulators, tied together with a modular patch panel. It's a sound designer's dream come true. As deep as the Mod 7 is, anyone can modify the sounds quickly and easily. In this program, the vector joystick simultaneously changes the frequencies of the modulations and more. Easy and powerful. Select Program Internal C14 Stereo Strings. Many of the sound engines we've looked at so far are designed for specific instruments like piano, analog synths, etc. The ninth engine we'll look at is the HD1 High Definition PCM synth. This uses sample playback, so this engine can cover a wide range of musical instruments and sound effects. The samples can be from the internal ROM or RAM area or from the internal disk in real time, like the ESGX1 does. The HD1 PCM synth is different than the other 8 sound engines. All the others are EXI instruments. Program banks are either EXI or HD1. An HD1 program cannot be saved in an EXI bank, and an EXI program can't be saved in an HD1 bank. From the factory, internal banks B through G and user A and G are HD1. All the other banks are EXI. The user banks can be set to one or the other in global mode. Select internal D101. All the programs in the Kronos, including HD1 programs, are completely set up so that the control surface can quickly and easily modify the sounds. Select user A09. Notice that this program is saved with the control assign set to timbre track. This is normally used to adjust the levels of the sequencer tracks or the timbres of a combination. However, in program mode, it can be used to adjust the levels of the 2 oscillators. In this program, oscillator 1 is the drum kit mic'd closely, and oscillator 2 is the room ambience. You can simply dial in the amount of ambience you want. Nine sound engines. The Kronos truly is amazing. Let me show you 2 more sound creation tools, wave sequencing and vector synthesis. These aren't sound engines, but powerful nonetheless. Use the screen this time to select internal F02. Internal F bank, 02 top of the popper. This HD1 program features wave sequencing, basically triggering one sample after another either rhythmically or smoothly, all lockable to tempo. To hear an example of vector synthesis, use the numeric keypad and select internal E85. A sound or group of sounds can be assigned to one of 4 points of the vector, and then the amount of each sound can be controlled manually with the vector joystick, or can be programmed to crossfade through the vector points automatically. It can also simultaneously control things like filter cutoff, panning, LFO intensity, and more, making it a very powerful sound creation tool. Select internal D51. Every program and combination is set up with a drum pattern and drum kit waiting for you to play along with. Simply turn on drum track and start playing. There are hundreds of patterns to choose from. They can be edited or created from scratch. You can also easily select different drum kits. Select user D41. Every program has a Karma module assigned to it. Karma is a technology that creates a musical phrase based on the notes you play on the keyboard, in much the same way as an arpeggiator. However, Karma is much more powerful and, most importantly, flexible. Turn on Karma. Notice that the pattern can be latched, meaning the pattern will continue even when you stop playing the keyboard. For this exercise, turn latch on and play some notes or a chord in the lower range of the keyboard. In this program, karma is only triggered in the lower range. As I mentioned before, karma is extremely flexible. Rather than a pattern repeating over and over the same way, the control surface can be used to change the pattern in real time. The program is already set to RT knobs karma. Touch the Control Surface tab. Now the screen displays what each slider and switch is assigned to control. This isn't necessary, but it can be helpful at times. Okay, here we go. Slider 2, Rhythm Complexity. Slider 3, Duration. Slider 5, Note Range. The slider assignments may differ a bit from program to program, but you will notice a certain consistency. You can save up to 8 karma scenes capturing the position and status of the karma sliders and switches. Then go from scene to quickly change the karma pattern. Turn on drum track for even more musical interaction. It is important to understand that everything created by karma is simply MIDI information. That means it can all be recorded into the Kronos' sequencer or an external sequencer. Think of karma as a toolkit of musical phrases. These phrases can be used to help sequence difficult things like harp glisses or guitar strumming, or to simply inspire you with new musical ideas. We'll look at the effects system later on in the sequence chapter, but briefly, each program can have 12 insert effects, 2 master effects, and 2 total effects, plus a 3-band EQ. Before we move on, I want to show you one of the truly wonderful new technologies of the Kronos, SST, Smooth Sound Transitions. This allows you to go from one program to another without the sound or the 16 simultaneous effects cutting off. Watch, I'll select internal A54 and then go through some programs. What's great about SST is that you can do it in any mode: program, combination, sequence, setlist. And unlike other systems, you don't need to reserve any effects or sounds. You can use everything and it just works. Of course, it doesn't keep all the sounds going forever. That's impossible. But SST does allow you to play a sound and smoothly move to the next. Then the current sound replaces the previous, so you can move on to the next, and so on and so on. Combination mode. Let's go to combination mode. Combination mode is where you can choose from hundreds of combination sounds. A combination allows you to bring together up to 16 programs using any of the 9 sound engines together on the keyboard. Each of the 16 timbres, as they are called, can have a key zone, a velocity zone, and more, giving you amazing sonic control from simple splits and layers to astounding dynamic masterpieces. Combinations, or combis as we sometimes call them, are selected the same way that you select programs, using the up-down buttons, the dial, the numeric keypad, or the screen. Each of the 14 banks can have 128 combis. From the factory, banks A, B, C, and most of D are filled with amazing contributions from Korg's master programmers. By the way, in combi mode, the banks don't have the same EXI HD1 rules explained in the program mode chapter. Any combination can be saved to any of the banks. Each combination, like the programs, are assigned to a category. Rather than strictly being instrument families, the categories can also refer to the type of combi. For example, lead splits, usually a pad sound in the lower range and a lead sound on the top. Bass splits, like bass and piano. Or motion synth. Where you hold a chord and let the motion happen. Use the category of a combi to get a sense of how it should be played. You'll also find chord trigger pads saved with each program and combination. Touch the EQ Vector Control tab, then the Pads tab. The higher up the screen, the higher the velocity. It's also possible to have fixed velocities no matter where you touch. You can edit the pads and even save your own chords. In fact, each program and combi can be saved with different chords. Here's a little-known feature. You can assign notes or any controller to trigger each pad. When you're feeling adventurous, check out the Controller Scale tab in Global Mode. Press Exit to return to the top page. Then select Combi Internal B67. Like the programs, each combi has a drum track assigned to it. A program or combi can be saved with the drum track on or off. The drum pattern will either start right away or wait for you to start playing. Go to Combi Internal A73. Every combi has 4 Karma modules saved with it, ready to inspire you. Each combi and program can be saved with Karma on or off. In this case, it's on. These buttons usually mute and unmute the 4 modules. One module might be triggering a drum pattern separate from the drum track, another a bass pattern, etc. The Karma control surface is 5 layers deep. You can adjust each of the 4 modules separately or use the master to control all 4 simultaneously. By default, the controls are set to master. Let's try it. Of course, you can combine Karma and drum track in combi mode as well. Select A22. Sequencer mode. We've seen how the Korg Kronos is packed with tools to inspire you, from 9 sound engines to Karma, to wave sequencing, drum track, and more. The internal 16-track sequencer is designed to capture your idea when inspiration hits, for example, with auto song setup. Select internal A000, the era of Kronos. As soon as you get an idea, you just hold down Enter and press the Record Write button. Touch OK. Now everything has been brought into a new song location in the sequencer. Record is already activated. All you need to do is press the Start button. There will be a 2-measure count in, and then it will start recording. Here's a tip. Press and hold the notes during the 2-measure count in. This will ensure that your first notes will be on the very first beat of the first measure. Idea captured. In fact, all the different Karma parts and your own keyboard part have been recorded on separate tracks. You can now copy, paste, edit, etc. Let's look at recording one track at a time. The Kronos has some tools to help make this easy as well. Use the Up button to go to the next empty song location. Of course, you can select whatever sounds you want for each track, but a song template will quickly set up the first 8 tracks with sounds, levels, panning, effects, etc. in a particular musical genre so you can quickly start recording. Pull down the upper right menu. Touch Load Template Song. Touch the arrow. There are 18 preset and 16 user to choose from. Select P02 R&B. Let's copy one of the preset drum patterns to track 1 while we're here. Touch this box, and then OK. You can select from many user and preset patterns. Let's just use the suggested one, P31 Real 8-Beat 2 All. All in the name refers to the drum programs that will work with this pattern. Some of the patterns are designed to work with specific drum kit programs. Each time you press OK, it will put this 4-measure pattern sequentially on the track, in this case track 1, starting at measure 1. Now we're at measure 5. Press OK. Now we're at measure 9, and so on. Touch Exit. Let's listen to a bit of the drum pattern we put on track 1. Press Locate. Locate is programmable, but by default it will bring us back to measure 1, beat 1. Now that we've quickly created a drum part, let's record a bass part on track 2. There's already a bass program assigned. Record. Start. Track 3. Electric piano. Select track 5. This shows that track 5 is already set up with a Karma pattern, in this case a strumming pattern. Turn on Karma. Just play a chord and Karma strums it for you. Of course, we can copy, paste, event edit what we've recorded, and more. When the control assign is set to timbre track, the control surface becomes a mixer for the MIDI tracks. Notice that the mixer knobs are set to individual pan, meaning each knob is a pan for tracks 1 through 8 or 9 through 16, and these switches mute the tracks. If you select Channel Strip, then the knobs control the pan, EQ, and Master Effects sends for a single track. The switches select which track that is. Leave it on channel strip for now. Most workstations stop there, but Kronos is also a 16-track audio recorder directly to the internal drive, sometimes called hard disk recording. You can record up to 4 tracks simultaneously from a variety of sources, the analog inputs, USB, etc. As well, you can record through the internal effects or not. In this case, we'll do a simple recording using a dynamic mic with a 1/4-inch jack. Connect the mic to audio input 1 and set the mic line switch to mic. Touch the audio track mixer tab, pull down the upper right menu, and select Auto HDR Sampling Setup. This will automatically set up everything you need for a variety of audio track recording or sampling jobs. Select HDR Audio Track Recording and set the source audio to audio input 1 mono. We're not using any insert effects and we're recording to track 1, so touch OK. Next, we need to set the level. Touch the Preference tab. Keep an eye on the meter and adjust the rear panel level knob until the level is high but not clipping.
Check 1, 2, 3, check 1, 2, 3, check.
If the signal clips, you'll see the message ADC overload appear over the meter.
Check 1, 2, 3, check, 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 check.
Press Locate to go to the start of the song, record, and start.
When I held you, I knew that it would be alright. Be alright. When I held you, I knew that it would be alright.
You can record more tracks, bounce tracks, edit the audio, and more. When the control assigned is set to audio, the control surface becomes a mixer for the audio tracks. It's still on channel strip, so let's adjust the audio track's EQ. And since the song template already set up the master effects, Effects Send 2 to add some reverb. Let's look at how the effects work in sequencer mode. Combination mode works the same way. Program mode works the same way, however it's like working with a single track. First, touch the EQ Vector Control tab. Each MIDI and audio track has its own 3-band EQ. Touch the IFX tab, short for Insert Effects. Since we used a song template to get started, you'll notice that the effects have already been set up for many of the tracks, but of course you can make any changes you wish. There are 12 insert effects per song. When a track is bused to an insert effect, the audio signal passes directly through the effect. Think of it as a guitar effect pedal you plug in and out of. You can route a track or multiple tracks into any insert effect. Even chain effects together. Drums are a special case. You have a bus select parameter for each sound in a drum kit, so you can send the snare drum to one insert effect, the bass drum to another, etc. Touch the IFX 1 through 12 tab.
When I held you,
Each effect can be edited extensively, even controlled in real time. Touch the Insert Effects tab. After the signal passes through the insert effect, you have sends 1 and 2. This sets how much of the signal is sent to Master Effects 1 and 2. Touch the MFX TFX tab, short for Master Effects and Total Effects. These are the master effects. A typical application is to put a chorus effect on 1 and a reverb on 2, then use the sends to set how much of each you want on a sound. Press the IFX tab. then the MIDI Routing 1 tab. Even if you don't send a track through an insert effect, you can still set a track's Send 1 and 2 amount here. And finally, touch the MFX TFX tab. These last two effects, the total effects, are applied to the entire mix at the very end of the signal. For example, you might put a 7-band EQ and a limiter on the entire mix. Press Exit. Setlist mode. Let's go to setlist mode. Setlists allow you to bring together 128 programs, combis, even songs for you to use in performance. You have 16 slots on the screen at one time, and you just touch the one you want. SST, Smooth Sound Transitions, ensures that the previous sound isn't abruptly muted. You can also write a 512-character note for each slot that can be used for cues, lyrics, or information you may need to remember. In the lower corners of the screen, you'll notice you can jump to the next or previous group of 16. You have 128 set lists in memory. Touch the arrow to the left of the setlist name and select the one you want. For this exercise, select Setlist 001. Okay, let's assemble a setlist. There are two ways to bring a program, combi, or song into a setlist. The first way is to manually set what a particular slot is. Touch the Edit tab. Make sure you are on the first group of 16, then touch the first slot in the upper left corner. At the top of the screen, you select if you want a program, a combi, or a song in this slot. Let's select Combi. Now choose which combi you want, either by category or by bank. Select Internal A009 Vocal Wash and touch OK. There it is. You can name the slot, adjust the volume, add text, etc. Let's put the song we just made in the second slot. You can even choose what sequence track you want on the keyboard. The second way is a bit easier. You just select the program, combi, or song you want and insert it in the set list. Keep the second slot selected and go to Program mode. Choose Program User E000 Double Screamer. Pull down the menu and touch Add to Setlist. Back to setlist mode. You'll notice that the program has been inserted between the combi and the song slots we just assigned. Along the bottom of the edit page, you'll find useful tools for moving things around to where you need them, copy, paste, etc. Let's save the setlist. Pull down the menu, touch Write Setlist, touch the T, short for text, and use the on-screen keyboard to name the setlist. Touch OK. By the way, all naming is done this way: programs, combis, files, etc. Touch OK. And OK again to confirm. Setlist mode is perfect for live, everything you need together in one place, plus smooth sound transitions.
When I held you,
There's more. Touch the Play tab, then the graphic EQ box at the bottom. You can now use the control surface to adjust 9 bands of EQ to suit the room you are in. This can be saved with the set list as well. Press Exit. Sampling mode, global mode, and disk mode. Press Sampling mode. The Kronos can sample from any of the inputs in any mode, resample, do time slicing, load in samples in different formats, and more. Of course, we don't have time to get into everything here, but let me show you one thing. Let's sample the Kronos itself. Go to Combi mode and select internal B57 Feel the Rush. Press the Sampling Record button. Once you press the Start button, it will start sampling as soon as you start playing. Press Stop, turn off Karma and Drum Track, and go to Sampling mode. Touch here to select the new sample. OK. This assigns your new stereo sample to the C2 key. There's our sample. Here's the waveform that can be edited, looped, time sliced, and more. Go to Global mode. Global mode is where you can adjust and edit a variety of things that pertain to the Kronos as a whole. Global transpose, global MIDI channel, whether a user bank is EXI or HD1, etc. You edit drum kits and wave sequences in this mode as well. Notice here that you can globally turn Karma and Drum Track off. Sometimes you may want to simply go through the sounds without interacting with Drum Track or Karma. To save any changes so they'll be there after the Kronos is turned off and on, you'll need to pull down the menu and select Write Global. Go to Disk mode. This is where you save and load data to the internal solid-state drive or to external USB media. Anything that you create or edit in the Kronos can be saved to disk. There are a number of file types for different types of data, for example, .pcg and .sng. PCG will have the programs, combination, and global data, as well as set lists and drum track patterns. SNG stands for song, a file that stores all of the songs from sequencer mode. It's important to keep your data organized. For example, keeping the .pcg and .sng files of a particular project in a master folder or directory, as it is sometimes called, the same way you organize things in folders on your computer. Touch the Utility tab. Pull down the menu and touch Create Directory. Touch T and we'll name the directory. Select OK to confirm the naming, then OK to create the directory. Touch the Save tab and touch the directory we just created, and then Open. Pull down the menu. As you can see, you can save just the PCG, just the sequences, etc. For this example, select Save All. Name it anything you like. And touch OK. Here we can select specifically what we want to save. We'll save everything, so touch OK. You'll see that it has created the two files we spoke of, .pcg and .sng. .ksc and this folder have the information and files from the sampling we did. And this folder has the files from the audio recording we did. This KGE file contains the current user Karma patterns. Lastly, let's load the preload demo songs. We're inside the folder we created, so touch up to come out. The song file we need is in the factory folder. Touch it and select Open. To load something, select the Load tab. Touch what you want to load, in this case, Preload Song, and touch Load. You can either append, meaning add the songs to the songs already in the sequencer, or clear, erase what's in memory and replace it with the songs you are loading. Keep it on clear. If there are files with similar names, it will ask you if you want to load those as well. We're just loading the song file, so touch OK. Go to sequencer mode and select the demo song you want. Well, that's it. I hope this helps to kickstart your Kronos experience. As I mentioned at the start, you can get additional detailed information in the PDF manuals on Accessory Disc 2. And remember, the Help button is always standing by to instantly access the English versions of all the PDF manuals. For example, to access information about the current page you're on, just press and release the Help button. For information on any front panel button, knob, slider, etc., just hold down Help and then press the button or move the controller in question. Congratulations on purchasing an instrument that not only inspires you, but gives you the tools to capture that inspiration. Korg Kronos. Great for live, great for music production, great for sound design. You made the right choice.
I'm so infected by the time